Hello students, welcome to yet another lecture of atomic structure. In yesterday's class we have stopped our class at two different models of atom, which was J.J. Thomson's model and Rutherford's model. We have seen the description of each of the models, and we have also seen the drawbacks of J.J. Thomson model. Coming to Rutherford's model, in the yesterday's class we have seen that according to Rutherford's model, when he carried out the experiment by using alpha rays striking the gold foil, he observed the results based on which he concluded that when alpha rays was striking the atom, most of the space in the atom was empty. That is why whatever alpha rays was striking the atom was going straight by an angle of 180 degrees without any deflection. Most of the alpha rays which you will see, this alpha ray, this alpha ray, this alpha ray, and all these alpha rays are not disturbing or not changing its direction and going straight and coming out by an angle of 180 degrees. That indicates that inside the atom most of the space is empty, and very few of the alpha rays are showing a deflection by some angle of about 30 to 40 degrees, right. That deflection is also not because it is striking the nucleus, but because when it is striking beside the nucleus. Suppose this alpha ray, if I am taking, it is not going into the inside the nucleus. If you are able to see, this alpha ray is not directly hitting the nucleus, but as alpha rays are already having positive charge and nucleus also has positive charge, as it is approaching near the nucleus, because of repulsive forces between alpha rays and nucleus, as both are positively charged, the alpha rays, when it comes near the nucleus, it repels or it deflects by some angle, right. Out of 1000 alpha rays, 99% of the alpha rays are not showing any disturbance. They are coming exactly by the same angle of 180. Some of the alpha rays are deflecting by an angle of 30 to 40. That alpha rays are also deflecting not because it is going into the nucleus, but because as it is approaching near. When you look into these three alpha rays at the top and these three alpha rays at the bottom, are they near the nucleus? No, they are not near the nucleus. They are a little away from the nucleus. So there is no repulsive force of attraction between these three alpha rays to the nucleus or these three alpha rays to the nucleus. But this alpha rays which is near to the nucleus and this alpha rays which is also near to the nucleus is showing repulsion between positive alpha rays, positive nucleus. That is why it is showing some deviation, right. And 1 in 1000 alpha rays, what it is doing is, when it is hitting exactly the nucleus, as the nucleus is highly dense and positive in charge, this alpha rays, the chances of that one alpha ray which is going exactly into the nucleus cannot go straight by 180 degrees angle. So what will it do? It will revert back. It will revert back by an angle of 360 degrees, and that chances of one ray hitting the nucleus and coming back in the same direction is very less. In fact, it is negligible. Out of 1000 alpha rays, only one alpha ray can happen to be like that, right. So based on this observation, this is the arrangement of atom Rutherford has told, in which most of the mass of the atom is constricted in a highly densed area called as nucleus, which is positive in charge, and the remaining atom is empty, and at the border of the atom you will find electrons revolving in a fixed orbit. Electrons revolving in a fixed orbit. These were the points of Rutherford's model, right. Mass of the atom. This model is Rutherford's model. Rutherford's model, also called as alpha rays scattering experiment. According to this, mass of the atom is highly densed in the center to form nucleus. To form nucleus, right? Most of the space, if total mass is gone in the nucleus only, all the mass of the atom went into the nucleus only, then how about the remaining space? It must be empty. Most of the space inside the atom is empty. Coming to the third point, right? Atom is dense in nucleus and remaining space is empty. And how about electrons? Electrons are revolving at the boundary in a fixed orbit. In a fixed orbit, when you say, it means direction. Means around the nucleus, if they are revolving, this is their orbit. Electron will move in this direction only. It will not slip outside the orbit, or it will not come inside the orbit. That is called as fixed orbit. Boundary in a fixed orbit. So this is the postulates of Rutherford model, right? The story doesn't end here. As if these are the postulates of Rutherford's model, it also has, till now it seems that everything is perfect, but it also has got some limitations. And that limitations of Rutherford's model are, so now Rutherford told that this is the nucleus and electrons are revolving in a fixed orbit, right? And this model is just like solar system, in which sun is nothing but nucleus and the electrons which are revolving in a fixed orbit are nothing but planets. Planets don't change their orbit, they revolve in the same orbit, same as that even electrons do the same, right? But according to their orbits will not change. And according to planetary model, in planetary model what happens is, when the planets revolve around the fixed orbit, when they continuously do so, if in the same orbit if they are revolving, their speed is accelerated or their speed is increased. Who? Planets. When planets revolve around the sun in a fixed orbit, their speed is accelerated. So the same should be applied even for electrons, right? So if electrons also revolving around the sun, if electrons also revolving around the nucleus in a fixed orbit, even their speed should be also accelerated, right? Even the speed of the electron should also be increased or accelerated. But according to electromagnetic theory, according to electromagnetic theory, charged bodies. Who are the example of charged bodies? Electrons are charged bodies. Who are the example of uncharged bodies? Are planets. No need to go by their sizes. The body which is revolving, both are same, both are revolving, right? Even electrons are revolving and even planets are also revolving, but the difference between them is electrons are charged bodies whereas planets are uncharged bodies. According to electromagnetic theory, whenever charged body's speed is accelerated, whenever charged body increases their speed, what happens is they start emitting electromagnetic radiations. When will they emit electromagnetic radiations? When their speeds goes on increasing. To reduce the speed, to bring back the speed to the normal, they will try to emit electromagnetic radiations, right? So if electrons are taken as an example of charged body, according to that theory, even electrons also should start emitting electromagnetic radiations. Electromagnetic radiations should be emitted by electrons. If electromagnetic radiations are emitted by the electrons, they will try to come closer to the nucleus and they will try to spin. They will try to spin by changing their orbit. If any body starts emitting electromagnetic radiation, what happens is they will no longer revolve in the form of fixed orbit. What will they do is they will try to spin. Spin top you might have already seen, no, right? In the same way, charged bodies, uncharged bodies don't do like that. Only charged bodies do that. If they are revolving in the fixed orbit, they will increase their speed and they will emit electromagnetic radiations, and if they emit electromagnetic radiation, they will change their way in the form of this, not in the form of fixed orbit. So, this is spinning, and when spinning is happening, they will try to come closer and closer to the nucleus and the orbit starts shrinking in the form of this way, in the form of spin top, right. So, if the orbit starts to shrink, electron comes closer to the nucleus, and as nucleus is having very high forces of attraction, it will pull the electron towards itself and the atom collapses, and the atom has to collapse. Therefore, that is the limitation of Rutherford's model. According to electromagnetic theory, charged bodies when revolve in the fixed orbit, when charged bodies revolve in the fixed orbit, what happens is their speed is accelerated. The same point if you apply for uncharged bodies, their speed will not be accelerated. Their speed is accelerated. Can you apply the same point to planets? According to electromagnetic theory, planets revolve around in the fixed orbit and their speed is accelerated. Can you do that? No, you cannot do, because planets are uncharged whereas electrons are charged bodies. So, according to electromagnetic theory, charged bodies when they revolve in the fixed orbit, their speed is accelerated and they spin by emitting electromagnetic waves or rays, electromagnetic rays, and starts to shrink and the orbit starts to shrink and the orbit starts to shrink. If the orbit starts to shrink, there will come a point where electron comes so close to the nucleus that they cannot bear the repulsive force of attraction between nucleus, which is highly charged, and electron who is very small. Density of nucleus is very large and electron is very less. They can no longer bear that and the atom will collapse. Therefore, this is the limitation of Rutherford's model, right. Second limitation is, if this does not happen, say this limitation is wrong. So, the other possibility is there. Rutherford is saying that electron is revolving in the fixed orbit and nothing of this type is happening. Then the other side of the story is also there. If electron is revolving in a fixed orbit without shrinking, have you seen any atom which is shrinking continuously because it is not stable? You know that atoms are having its own stability. Then what is the reason for its stability? Without shrinking they are able to survive. You will see this in the second limitation. If, please sirs pause. That was the first limitation in which Rutherford considered electron revolving. right? Revolving. But if let us imagine that this limitation is wrong by considering electrons not revolving in the orbit, and imagine electron to be stationary. Don't think that electrons are revolving in the fixed orbit. In the postulate what we have considered that electrons are revolving. Let us suppose Rutherford model is correct and electrons are not revolving, they are stationary in the orbit only. If the electrons are stationary, that means this electron will always be here only, this electron will always be here only. What is the size of the electron compared to the nucleus? Size of the nucleus is larger than electron. Electron is very small compared, nucleus itself is very small and electron is even smaller than the nucleus, right? So, in front of a large size having high capacity nucleus, if this small size electron is sitting ideal without moving, suppose in front of a fat guy, a thin guy is sitting in front of him, nothing will happen to the thin guy? No. If a thin guy is sitting in front of a fat guy, he will definitely catch hold of him and brings him closer to the nucleus. So, electron cannot sit quietly in front of the nucleus just like that, because nucleus will, with its own energy, nucleus will pull the electron towards itself. Therefore, even if for the sake of correction, even if you imagine electron to be stationary, even that model also cannot work. Therefore, if they are stationary, what happens is electrons are pushed towards nucleus, and if electrons are coming towards the nucleus, that model ultimately becomes which model? The previous model, that was J.J. Thomson's model. Even in J.J. Thomson's model also electrons are randomly arranged. That was because if you imagine electron to be stationary, they are sitting here only, nucleus is in the center, nucleus has more capacity, so it will attract the electron by its own electrostatic forces of attraction towards itself, and ultimately electron comes towards the nucleus, giving an arrangement just like J.J. Thomson's model, which was already known to you. So, this is the second limitation. If the electrons are considered to be stationary, what will nucleus do if the electron is sitting at its place only? Will it say, okay, you sit there, I will not do anything? No, nucleus has more power. So, nucleus pulls the electron towards itself, pulls the electrons towards itself by electrostatic forces of attraction, which ultimately gives which model? J.J. Thomson's model only. Gives Thomson's model, right? These are the limitations of Rutherford's model. If Rutherford imagined it to be revolving, even that cannot be possible. If Rutherford imagined electron to be stationary, even that cannot be possible. Therefore, Rutherford was not able to explain the stability of the atom. Why atom is stable? Atom is stable not by this reason, neither by this reason. What is the reason then? This question, when this question came, to answer this question, a new model came which is called as Bohr's model, which tried to explain the stability of the atom by taking an arrangement called as electronic arrangement. Inside the atom, how electrons are arranged and what is their orbit and what is their probabilities. That model explained the stability of the atom correctly, which you will see in the later classes, and please copy down the Rutherford's model with its limitations. Now, after looking at the models of the arranged atom, let us look at what is called as atomic number and mass number, because atomic number and mass number is determined by how many protons and how many neutrons are together present in the atom, right. If you know the number of protons and neutrons in an atom, each of the quantities will determine what is called as atomic number of that atom and mass number of that atom. It will be different for each and every atom. So, now let us look at what is atomic number. Atomic number is represented by a symbol Z, right. You know that protons are positive in nature and it is present inside the nucleus, right, and electrons are negative in nature and it is present around the nucleus, and charge of the protons are exactly opposite to that of electrons, right. So, in a neutral atom, what is the charge of the protons? The same charge will be there for electrons, but it is opposite. If one proton is there having +1 charge, one electron will be there having -1 charge. If two protons are I am talking about a neutral atom. In a neutral atom, if there are 5 protons, +5 will be the charge and electrons will be 5 and -5 will be the charge for electrons, right. So, you have to know each and every atom having how many protons and how many neutrons. As neutrons are neutral in charge, you do not find +1 or -1 for that, right. So, by looking at the atomic number and mass number, you will clearly see how many protons are there in that atom, how many neutrons are there, and if protons are fixed, even electrons will be having the same value if it is a neutral atom, right. Let us look at the atomic number. Atomic number of any atom indicates how many protons are present in it. Atomic number indicates how many protons are present in it. It is indicated by the symbol Z, right. Coming to mass number. Mass number will be total number of protons plus neutrons. Total number of protons plus neutrons are called as mass number, and we have already seen that protons and neutrons together, where are they present? They are present inside the nucleus. Electrons only outside the nucleus, remaining protons and neutrons inside the nucleus. So, they are called as nucleons. Whoever is present inside the nucleus are called as nucleons. Even protons and neutrons both are called as nucleons as they are present inside the nucleus. So, you can also say mass number definition as total number of nucleons are called as mass number, right. It is indicated by M. Suppose this is the symbol for atom. Suppose this is the symbol for atom. Sir, please pause. Suppose this is the symbol for atom, atomic number will be subscript and mass number will be superscript, right. So, now let us take the example of the simplest atom, which is hydrogen atom, right. Hydrogen. This is atomic number, which means how many number of protons are present inside hydrogen? Atomic number is 1. That means number of protons is 1. It has 1 proton. Is this atom a neutral atom or a positively charged or a negatively charged? This atom is neutral. Therefore, in a neutral atom, in a neutral condition is there. If the atom is not neutral, you cannot tell this rule. In a neutral atom, you can call atomic number as number of electrons also. Number of electrons also. In a neutral atom, atomic number can also be called as number of electrons. Therefore, in a hydrogen atom, if number of proton is 1, how much are the number of electrons is also 1, right? Let me take another example of carbon, right? In this case, what is the atomic number? 6. That means number of protons or number of electrons are 6, right? Coming to the next, which is mass number. Mass number of hydrogen is also 1 and mass number of carbon is 12. Mass number of hydrogen is also 1 and mass number of carbon is 12. What does that mean? Mass number definition was number of protons plus neutrons. You have written mass number formula to be number of protons plus neutrons. Number of protons are how many? 1 plus number of neutrons are 0. Therefore, mass number in this hydrogen atom is 1 and you are not having any neutron in this atom. You are not having any neutron in this hydrogen atom. In the coming definition, we will see isotopes and isobars. That is a different story, but this is a relatively abundant hydrogen atom in which atomic number is also 1 and mass number is also 1. Coming to carbon, what is the mass number of carbon? Number of protons plus neutron is nothing but mass number. How many number of protons you already wrote? Number of protons and neutrons are 6. Leftover value is 6. That means carbon of relative abundance has 6 protons or 6 electrons and 6 neutrons. So, number of protons are 6. Number of electrons are 6 and number of neutrons are also 6, right? This is the basic definition of atomic number and mass number of a neutral atom, and in the neutral atom also I have taken atoms of relative abundance of 99%, right? You will also see its isotopes in the next definitions. Now coming to the definition of isotopes and isobars, right? Now you copy down the definitions of atomic number and mass number by taking these two examples. Now let us take the definitions of isotopes and isobars. Till now you are clear with what is atomic number and mass number. Suppose if I take two different atoms in combination, atom can be of the same origin or you can also take different atom, right? So now let us take protium, deuterium and tritium. They all the three belong to hydrogen only. These three are the isotopes of hydrogen, right? What is the difference between them is isotope means atoms with same atomic number but different mass number. Atomic numbers, if you take any two combinations, their atomic numbers will be same. It has same atomic number, same atomic number, same atomic number, but their mass numbers will be different. Then these two combinations or these two combinations or all these three combinations are called as isotopes of hydrogen atom. So now if atomic number is same, what is the atomic number of hydrogen? 1. Even this has 1 and this also has 1 atomic number. How about their mass numbers? Mass numbers of protium is 1, deuterium is 2 and tritium is 3, right? So now this hydrogen atom having atomic number 1, mass number 1 is called as protium, atomic number 1, mass number 2 is called as deuterium, atomic number 1 and mass number 3 is called as tritium. Now let me calculate what is the number of protons and neutrons for these three, right? For hydrogen, number of proton is 1, number of electron will also be 1, number of neutron is 0, proton is 1, so electron will also be 1, no need to write. Neutron is 0. For deuterium, proton is 1, neutron is 1, total is 0. For tritium, proton is 1 only, but neutrons are 2, right? So these three are the isotopes of hydrogen atom, right? Number of electrons in all the three are same or different? It is same. Number of protons in all the three are same or different? It is the same. What is different is only number of neutrons. They have same number of electrons and same number of protons. Therefore, any combination of atoms who has the same number of electrons will have same chemical properties, because the chemical properties depends on number of electrons but not proton and neutron. Chemical properties is decided by electrons. Therefore, isotopes will always have same chemical properties. Coming to the definition of isobars, let me take an example of carbon and nitrogen here. Their atomic numbers is 6 and 7 for nitrogen, right? So isobars are that atoms who has different atomic number but same mass number. Atoms with different atomic numbers but same mass number. Example is carbon and nitrogen. What is the atomic number of carbon? 6. That means number of protons is 6. Atomic number of nitrogen is 7. That means number of protons for nitrogen is 7. Right? Atomic mass number of this carbon I am taking 14 and nitrogen is also 14. This carbon is not a carbon of relative abundance 99%. It was having 12. I have taken another carbon in which relative abundance is very less, 0.01%. That carbon I have taken and its mass number is 14. That means protons are 6 for this and 7 for this, right? But neutrons will be 6 minus 14 you will have 8 neutrons and 7 minus 14 you will have 7 neutrons, right? So these are the atoms with different atomic number but same mass number are called as isobars. Let me stop here. We will continue in the next class.